Tax deducted at source. Four predominant sections are going to be covered here. Apart from the TDS, the TDS falls under 192 to 196. Now, payee and payer, for whatever the service or facilities or support given by payee to the payer, for that payer has to make the payment. If the payment being say 1 lakh, certain amount on this will be deductible, probably 10,000 like as per the number specified in this TDS. Okay. One second. So you have to deduct and deposit with the Government of India as a tax. Okay. This is called TDS. For the year end, payee calculates tax. For example, this for income, the tax payable to the government may be 12,000. By the time this TDS is deducted, okay, TDS already paid is deducted, balance 2,000 is net tax payable. This will be calculated and adjusted by the year end at the time of payment of tax. This is the tax payment. Similarly, the payable tax calculated on his income is only 8,000. TDS being 10,000. What happens in this case? Now 2,000 negative balance is there. No, you can claim the refund. So tax either payable or refundable from the government. Whatever the rate specified for deduction purpose here is final. You no need to adjust for the health and education cess and surcharge will not be applicable. The standard fixed number will be there, except in some cases like salary and other cases. Okay. Most of the cases, the number will be confirmed. You no need to again calculate surcharge and health and education cess on this. Sometimes this number may be very, very lesser, even 1%, even less than 1% also sometimes. Then you may ask, what's the logic behind charging just a meager 1% while making the payment? Then the thing is, payer intimates to the government that I have made this much payment and a small TDS is deducted and deposited to the Government of India as per intimations given under TDS Act, TDS provisions. So this information is now available with the Government of India while submitting return of income by the payee. Definitely this income should be shown as his income for the calculation of taxability. If he hides this, immediately Government of India will now question what happens. There's a TDS means there should be this income. You have not shown this income. So I need to calculate this also being one of your incomes. So you have to pay the tax. That's how you cannot escape. That's the reason behind TDS. If this payer pays the entire amount without deducting, 90,000 rupees is payable to the payee, 10,000 is payable to the Government of India, stating that TDS is deducted on this. If he fails to do so, then in his P&L account, the amount he debited 1 lakh rupees for this expenses cannot be debited as per section 40 class A. We have studied under PGP chapter. Clear? This is the logic. Now, tax is deducted only if amount is taxable in the hands of the receiver. If the receiver says, sir, don't deduct the TDS because I am not having any taxable income at all and my taxable limit is also not touched. My income itself 1 lakh or 1.5 lakhs only, don't deduct the TDS. That's how he can represent and he can claim full amount without TDS also. But he has to file a return, certificate for that. At what time the TDS is deductible? Time of TDS. At the time of payment or at the time of crediting to the payee's account. Between these two, whichever is earlier. But in these following cases, TDS will be on payment basis. Most of the cases, whichever is earlier of time of payment or time of crediting in payee's account, except the list given here. We'll see this list after. And flat TDS rate is applicable. Flat TDS rate. Already I told you, flat TDS rate. Sir, will there be any surcharge and health and education cess apart from this rate? No, only that rate is deducted and deposited. Except salary. In case of salary, service surcharge as well as health and education cess are also applicable. And if you are making any payment to outside India, non-resident as well as foreign company, surcharge and health and education cess will be applicable. In all other cases, only the flat rate, whatever the rate mentioned in that particular section will be final. Okay. Now, most of the cases, TDS is applicable where payment for commercial and personal purpose both. You are making the payment for commercial purpose, then TDS is applicable. Sir, I am making this payment for the personal purpose. Will it be falling under this TDS provision, sir? Yes, most of the cases. In all the cases, the payment exceeds as per the limit specified in these TDS provisions. You have to deduct the TDS, whether you are using it for personal purpose or business purpose, doesn't matter. But except 194C and 194J, in these two cases, okay, if payment is made for the individual personal purpose, especially by the individual and half, TDS not required to be deducted. TDS not required to be deducted. Okay. So, as per section 206AA, payee whom, okay, while paying the amount, I have to subtract the TDS, but the TDS is as per the rate specified in the concerned TDS section will be applied, provided this payee has to submit the PAN number. If PAN number is not submitted, then automatically applicable rate as per the TDS provision or 20%, whichever is higher, will be charged. Okay. So whatever the rate mentioned under those section or 20% flat rate, between these two, whichever is higher will be the final TDS payable here. Is that clear? Right. Usually TDS will be deductible, okay, on any professional fee. You have to remove the GST. For example, director and XYZ company. Director renders directorship service to XYZ company. For that, directorship sitting fee and direct fee is also going to be payable, probably around 2 lakhs. An applicable GST in this case being, say, 18%, 36,000. So the overall payment for this being 2,36,000. But TDS will be deductible only on this value, not on the total value. So TDS is applicable on the professional fees. This fee is payable by the XYZ company. The director is called professional fee. Further, the payer being the XYZ company should deduct the TDS. While deducting, okay, you have to take the original value excluding the GST for the TDS purpose. But in case of supply of goods, gross value will be taken. Okay, TDS is applicable on gross value in case of supply of goods. Hope you will be now able to understand. So from A to F, no, we need to use payment date for payment of TDS also. Clear? Now let's start with all the sections. Okay. Now, first, before I go inside, let me finish off all the TDS applicable here in nutshell. We'll start with 192, section 192. Section 192 is all about salary. Salary. 192A is all about premature withdrawal of PF. Okay. 192A. 193 interest on securities. 194 dividend income. While Paying the dividend by the Indian company, they have to deduct the TDS as per this provision. 194A, interest from other than securities. 194A. Then 194B, 194B, and 194BB. Okay, it's all about casual income. Casual income, winning from lotteries, betting, gambling. Lottery, betting, gambling. And 194BB is all about winning from participating horse race. Okay, horse race. Clear? The entire summary I will give in this page itself, so you can easily remember all these things. At least the core point you can complete. Okay. 194 C. 194 C. Contract payment. Payment for contract. At the time TDS is applicable. 194 D. 194 D. Commission payable to insurance agent. Insurance commission. Commission payable to insurance agent. 194 DA. 194 DA. This is nothing but maturity amount of life insurance policy. ULIP, Keyman insurance policy and all. Maturity value. 194G. 194G is all about commission on sale of lottery ticket. Lottery tickets. 194H. 194H, commission and brokerage not falling under the above category. 194I. 194I is all about TDS for payment of rent. 194IA. So the payment for transfer of immovable property. Immovable property. And IB. Okay. 194 IB. Rent on immovable property. Rent on immovable property. 194J. Section 194J is all about payment for the professional services. Professional services. 194K. 194K. Units. Amount realized after the sale of units, but not being the capital gain. Not being the capital gain. Income from sale of or transfer of units or any other income other than capital gains. 194 LA. Compensation of immovable property on compulsory acquisition. Compulsory acquisition. Immovable property, IP. Now, (194M) contract, professional fee, brokerage, commission. 194N. 194N. Cash withdrawal, cash withdrawal, and 194 O, supply of goods and services, supply, and P 194P, pension and interest. 194Q, 194Q, purchase of goods, earlier sale, here now purchase. 194R, 194R, perquisites of PGBP, okay, PGBP, okay, R. Now, let's see. So these are the TDS provisions are there at the inter level. Try to memorize this very easily first of all, and then try to understand what is the rate applicable for each and every section, and you have to understand what is the limit to claim exemption from TDS. Okay, some provisions. There may be detailed provisions, of course, for your examination purpose. You need to understand these are the core area. What are they? What are the content covered under these sections, and what is the applicable TDS rates? What is the exemption limit for each and every TDS provisions, and who is being the payer and who is being the recipient, at what time it is going to be payable under TDS provisions. Okay, whether it's whichever is earlier of payment or credit, whichever is earlier, except some cases. Will it be only the flat rate, or do I want to add health and education cess and surcharge for the TDS purpose? All these things you have to learn. Now, immediately after your education, you go for the employment. So, salary, we start with 192. And after salary, think about retirement, 192 FA. And during your employment, you invest in securities, you get the interest. Invest in share, you get the dividend. You invest or keep the money in SB account, current account, and you will get the interest. Simply, you can remember all these things as a coherence order in your life. Salary, retirement PF, and then securities investment, share investment, other investment. 192, 192A, 193 interest on securities, 194 dividend, 194A interest from other than securities. B, okay, big bullies are playing this. Okay, big boss like lottery, betting, gambling, horse race, all these things are falling under this. Okay, horse race. Okay, now hope now you'll be able to understand this one. 192 salary, 192A PF, 193 interest from securities, 194 dividend, 194A interest from other than securities, and 194 B, BB, both are for lottery, betting, gambling. 195, 194 C for contract. D, always insurance agent will come. If you die, then you will get more benefit. Not yourself, you will be getting benefit, or your legal hire will get benefit. D for death commission. That's how you can remember. And DA, the amount invested, you are getting annuity form. A represents annuity form, like you can easily remember. Any payment for the contract TDS is applicable under section 194A C. LIC agents will get the TDS for their insurance commission under section 194D, and if you are getting the maturity value or Keyman insurance policy or ULIP policies and all, 194DA will be applicable for the TDS. And G, you can remember G with GH, government hospital. In front, you are selling the lottery and paying the commission or getting the commission, or you are paying the brokers also to sell. Okay, GH, lottery and commission. One is commission for sale of lottery, another one is commission and other brokerage not falling under the earlier case. I pay rent. I pay rent. I sell my immobile assets. IA represents immobile assets. I pay rent for my immobile property. Property spelling can be B. So you can easily remember. I represents rent, like I pay rent. IA, transfer of immobile assets. And IB, immobile properties rent. So first rent is not only immovable property, any rent. Even plant and machinery also can be used for letting purpose, and you generate the rent for the TDS is applicable under 194. IA, transfer of immovable property, where the consideration before you settle, you have to deduct the TDS. IB, rent for immobile property. J. So after you qualify CS, CMA, CS, whatever it may be, your life will be JJ. So being the professional, you'll get the professional fees. For that, you can get the, you need to pay the TDS 194J. J is for the professional services like professionals and even technical experts, directorship and all will fall under this case. And K represents units. K represents units, mutual funds units. And LA represents land asset. Land, LA represents land assets also. Your land asset compulsory acquired by the government, and while getting the compensation, TDS is applicable, LA, okay? Compulsory acquisition of your land asset and immobile property, okay? So for the TDS is applicable. M being many, okay? This contract and professional services, brokerage, as well as commission, whatever it may be. Understand? All these things are applicable only on satisfaction of some of the condition. On non-satisfaction of the condition, you will be nicely escape to deduct the TDS under these provision. Okay, 194C, 194G, 194H, and 194J. You can forget about this one also, but predominantly three: contract, commission, brokerage, professional fee. Contract 194C, 194H, commission brokerage, 194J, professional fees. In these cases, you deduct the TDS only if it is for the professional purpose, business purpose, or in case of personal purpose, on satisfaction some of the conditions only it will be applicable. Nicely you escape. So many people are escaping to deduct TDS under these provisions, right? So exceptions there. Then for them this 194M is applicable. If we escape in those three sections, then one more condition is levied or laid in 194M, M for many. If those conditions satisfied, then it is subject to TDS under section 194M. Three sections. If you are escaping from those three sections, then automatically one more condition is laid and you will be cornered for TDS deduction under section 194M. N, non-currency. So government is motivating you not to transact in cash form. You transact in only in account form. So if you are withdrawing cash beyond a limit from the bank account, probably 10 lakhs. In some cases, it may be different number. If you are withdrawing beyond that, you have to pay the TDS. You have to pay the TDS. So if you go and withdraw 10 lakhs, the company is the banker is very happy to disperse. If you are withdrawing beyond that, automatically TDS will be deducted. Okay. So that is what about N. N for non-cash. Means cash withdrawal beyond certain limit will be falling under TDS. And O. O for goods. Q for goods. This is for supply. This is for purchase. O and Q. If you are supplying the goods and services beyond a limit, okay, then TDS is applicable. Similarly, if you are purchasing beyond a limit, then also TDS will be applicable under section 194Q and 194O. Always remember that 194, this TDS sections is applicable to the payer only. He is responsible to deduct and deposit on behalf of the payee. And 194P, P for pension. For the senior citizen, certain senior citizen, they have only pension income or the amount they have a balance in their bank account will be eligible for interest. Only these two. Then the liability pay to deduct the TDS and deposit the TDS is in the hands of the banker. And this senior citizen is not required to file the ROI also. The responsibility is now transferred to banker. 194P. Okay, finally R. If you are getting the perquisites, some written as being the PGP, then for the perquisites TDS will be applicable. Hope you will be now able to understand at least the sections and related provisions. Let me summarize here. So 192 is what? Salary. Then 192A is all about PF, EPF, and 193 is all about interest from securities. 194 dividend income. 194A interest from other than securities. 194B winning from betting gambling. BB is all about horse races. And 194C contract. CD insurance commission. DA LIC maturity amount and ULIP and all. And D E is not applicable for inter level. Okay. Then G is for commission on sale of lottery. Commission and brokerage will fall under H. Then at least you need to know alphabet. Huh? So okay, I. Then I, payment of rent. Then IA, immobile assets. 194 I, 194 IA, immobile assets transfer. Okay, transfer of immobile assets. IB, rent payable on immobile property. Okay, 194 I. Then after I, we have J. J is for professional. Then K is all about units, not being capital assets. Then LA, 194 LA, land asset, compulsory acquisition. Okay. Then we have M, many. 194 M is all about many. 194 C, 194 H, and 194 J. In those provisions, you are escaped. Then one more condition is laid. If that condition is satisfied, then automatically you will fall under 194 M. And 194 N is all about cash withdrawal. And 194 O, sale of goods. P, pension. Q, purchase of goods. R, perquisites in case of PG. Hope you will be now able to remember all these sections. Clear? Now we'll move on to detailed provisions. (192) Salary payment. Payer any person, predominantly employer, payee being employee being resident or non-resident, doesn't matter, they can claim. The TDS rate in this case being the average rate. Here the average rate will be applicable. So, average rate. The rate is very, very important. When it is not applicable, if the salary income is less than or equal to basic exemption limit, TDS is not applicable. When to pay? At the time of payment. These are the major provisions you have to understand. Okay. Employer, employee 1, employee 2. If employee 1, his salary is less than or equal to 5 lakhs or even 7 lakhs, whatever the case may be. Okay. And we will assume the old tax regime 2.5 lakhs. What about the tax in this case? 0. Then you no need to deduct TDS at all. For his case is 15 lakhs, tax is applicable. Then whatever the actual tax you know, the tax is split to 12 months and each and every month it is going to be deducted. Clear? Every month this is going to be deductible. Now, you know that if you have some other expenses deduction under section 80 series and all, no, you can tell to the employer, sir, I have the eligibility to claim the deductions. Even I can set off my income from house property loss also. Okay, give the information and document so that employer will consider that for the calculations of tax purpose. While doing that, for the income from house property, maximum loss could be only 2 lakhs to be adjusted here, isn't it? Okay, if there is any loss in income from house property, maximum 2 lakhs can be only adjusted in the salary. Okay, similarly, if the employee demands that, so I lost around 5 lakhs rupees from income from house property, sir, then the employer will take only 2 lakhs. And all other deductions applicable under section 80 series if he is applying the default tax regime. Or he may apt the, opting out of the default tax regime, old tax regime, or if can apt the default tax regime also. If he apts the default tax regime, it should also be intimated to the employer. So he has to intimate whether he goes for default tax regime or shift out. In the case of shift out, he has to provide all the documents for deduction purpose. So employer shall consider the details of other income deduction if furnished by the employee. In case of income from house property, maximum loss can be set off is only 2 lakhs, and he has to intimate whether he has to apt the default tax regime or regular one. So all these things he has to intimate to the employer. And he may be employed to 2 or 3 employers, full time to X and part time to Y. He can intimate that I have earned the salary from another employer also. Give this detail to one of the employers and asking him to pay the tax for both the income. So that is also possible. Multiple employment or shifting of employment, and he has to disclose to the other employer. Okay. In case of HRA claim, he has to give the documents. Okay. So if he wants to claim the HRA, okay, he has to pay the rent, no. So he has to get the PAN number of the landlord, okay, owner, and he has to submit that one also, and LTs and deduction, all these things are also be applicable here. So other provisions. This is all about perquisite's case. We have already covered those provisions earlier, so you can connect all those things. Hope you will be able to understand the additional provisions also. 192. Section 192 is over with this. And in case of section 192A, EPF. So in case of PF, no, you can withdraw only on maturity after the completion of 5 years is completely exempted. If you are withdrawing beforehand, of course, it is going to be taxable. If that EPF or PF, whatever it may be, taxable in the hands of the employer or recipient, then applicable TDS should be deducted by the fund, mutual fund, or means the PF fund agent, authorities. So here the trustee under EPF or the authorized person being the payer and payee usually being the employee, and TDS rate being 10% or MMR rate if no PAN is given. Okay, and if the payment is less than or equivalent to 50,000 rupees, TDS is not applicable. Is that clear? Now, so here, what is the rate? 10% or MMR rate, and exempt when the value received be less than or equal to 50,000. Less than or equal to 50,000. Is that clear? Now, if PAN is not given, MMR rate will be taken. Maximum marginal rate. Maximum marginal rate means 30%. Add surcharge at the maximum rate, probably 25% or 37% as the case may be, and add health and education cess on this 4%. This is called MMR rate. This is called MMR rate. And 193, interest on securities. Okay, payer being the person who issued the securities, and recipient should be the resident person, and rate being 10% or MMR if no PAN is given. Is that okay? So here, no PAN. Here also 10% and no PAN will be applicable. No PAN will be applicable. Clear? 193. Now, Here the deduction, you need to be careful. I will explain the exemption case here, interest on securities. Interest on securities. If the value is less than or equivalent to 10,000 in a financial year, then TDS is not applicable. TDS is not applicable. That too, this interest is received from 8% savings taxable bonds, 7.75% savings taxable bonds in these cases. Okay, in case of bond. In case of debentures, the amount limit is only less than or equal to 5,000. Beyond that, automatically TDS will be applicable. Tax saving bonds means up to 10,000 rupees. You no need to worry about the TDS. In case of interest receivable from the debenture, then only 5,000 is the limit. Apart from that, if you are getting the interest from national development bonds and LIC GIC insurer, okay, if the payment is to LIC GIC insurer, okay, or payment of interest for demat securities, or for interest of PFCL and IRFC bonds, or interest on state or central government securities, in these cases, TDS is not required to be deducted. So, one is national development bonds. Another one is interest is payable to LIC GIC insurer. Means LIC GIC insurer might have purchased the bond and they will be now paid the dividend. No, sorry, interest no. By the time interest, TDS is not applicable. As LIC GIC insurer are being the recipient. If you are getting the interest for the securities held in demat securities, TDS is not applicable. For the PFC or IRFC, if you are getting any interest from them, also not taxable. And interest from state and central government securities also not eligible for, not worry about the TDS. Right. Less than or equal to 10,000, less than or equal to 5,000. This is for debenture. This is tax savings bond. Clear? Now, 194. Dividend straightforward 10%. Recipient being the resident shareholder. If the value is less than or equal to 10,000 in a financial year, two individual shareholders exempted. Anyhow, this dividend is payable to LIC GIC insurer, or if the dividend is paid by SPV to business trust. In these two cases, TDS is not applicable. If LIC GIC insurer are being the shareholders, company has to pay the dividend to LIC GIC also, right? So for that, TDS is not applicable. If the dividend paid by SPV, special purpose vehicle to business trust, of course, this is not for your level. You can study that at your final level. No need to worry about that. This is a special, specific topic for the SPV and all at final level, not for inter level. No need to worry about that. Here you just understand SPV to business trust. Okay. So here you have to understand only 10% and 5,000 limit. 10% and not taxable if the value is less than or equal to 5,000. 194A. Interest other than securities like current account, fixed deposit, R&D, etc. RD. Okay. So for this section 194A will be applicable. Of course, 10%. Okay. Current account, FD and RD. Now, SBI Bank, Mr. A being the investor. For that, okay, if the payment is less than or equal to 40,000 in a year, TDS is not applicable. Else TDS is applicable. In case of Mr. A being senior citizen, the limit is increased to 50,000 rupees. If the interest paid by SBA to senior citizen is less than or equal to 50,000, TDS is not deductible. Otherwise, TDS will be deductible at the rate of 10%. So, Mr. A has the money in current account or SB account or FD, RD, whatever it may be. Whatever sort of interest may be, not being the securities. Now, Mr. A, Mr. B. Mr. B lent around 5 lakhs rupees. For that, Mr. A pays around 10% interest. 10% interest. Okay, or 12% interest, 60,000. Now, as the value is more than this specified value, what about the TDS? Is the TDS applicable? No. In this case, TDS applicable or not? Two conditions should be verified. One is the value should be more than 40,000 or 60,000, whatever the case may be. Okay. Even as it is not being the scenario of what? Banking company, independent, even if the value is more than 5,000, TDS is applicable. More than 5,000, TDS is applicable. You have to verify one more condition. What is that? Mr. A is liable for tax audit. Tax audit. Tax audit falls under section 44AB. Yes, sir. So, this Mr. A liable for tax audit under section 44AB, as well as his payment of interest being more than 5,000, then automatically TDS will be applicable. But tax audit is not applicable, the payment is more than 5,000. What about the TDS, sir? No, not required to deduct the TDS. Is that okay? It is to favor the individual who is not having so much of tax complications. Already he is doing a small business, has no tax audit purpose also. Then he may not have everything in pakka manner. So let him leave to claim the TDS deductions here. Hope you will be now able to understand. And in this case, this limit you have seen here, no, it is not for one branch. It may be probably Trichy, SBA Trichy, Tamil Nadu. Okay. SBA may have a number of branches. Mr. A may have the accounts in totally different branches. So you have to consider this interest credit in Mr. A's account, all the interest put together, not from single bank, core banking system. Core banking system. Is that clear? Let's see. No TDS if interest is less than or equal to 40,000 rupees. In case of resident senior citizen, the limit is up to 50,000 rupees. Interest is paid by bank, cooperative bank, post office, or financial institutions, LIC, UTI. Okay, in this case, in case of core banking system, the limit is 40,000 is applicable per bank basis. Per bank means SBA, n number of branches of SBA will be put together, will be considered that 40 or 50,000 limit. Hope you are now able to understand this. Second case, in other cases, this case. In other cases, if the interest being less than or equal to 5,000 rupees, TDS is applicable, but provided if the payer being any person, but in case of individual and HUF, not liable for tax audit in the previous year, will not fall under this, except means individual and HUF case means that it means interest payer being individual and HUF, he should fall under tax audit, else he will not liable to deduct the TDS at all. And some other exceptions cases. What are the exception cases we have? Interest by firm to partner, IT refund interest, and interest paid by cooperative bank to another cooperative society within the cooperative societies. And in the last case, where the previous year turnover is less than or equal to 50 crores. It's nothing but payer cooperative bank. Their turnover is less than or equal to 50 crores, then no need to claim the TDS. And similarly, cooperative society to members also, And finally, interest paid to LIC GSC. That interest payable to LIC GSC is usually not coming under TDS at all. Is that clear? So these are the special cases. Now you have to understand this one. So first I have explained this concept. This concept is very, very important. Will it be applicable for individual and half? Yes, applicable, provided that individual and half should fall under this one. What's that? Tax audit. When? Last previous year, not in the previous year. The previous year may be assessment year, current assessment year being 2025-26, previous year being 2024-25, last previous year being 23-24. In this year, if he has filed the return as per section 44AB after the audit, then only this is applicable, not the last year, previous year. Prior to the previous year matters. Okay, last previous year. So another case being here, less than or equivalent to 40,000, 50,000 as the case may be. This is resident senior citizen. In case the payer being individual and half falling under 44 AB in the last previous year, then less than or equivalent to 5,000 will be exempted, else automatically taxable. TDS is leviable. Lottery, betting, gambling. Now what could be the TDS rate? Not entertained. This should not be entertained. So flat rate 30% will be taken here. Here 30%. If the same payment is made to non-resident, what happens? Automatically you have to apply surcharge and health and education cess also. Clear? So 194B, BB, very simple. You can finish up just like that. Now come on, try to solve this illustration for TDS. Examine the TDS implication under section 194A. These kinds of questions you can expect in TDS chapter. Okay. In the cases mentioned hereunder, 11024, Mr. Harish made 6 months FD of rupees 10 lakhs at the rate of 9% per annum with the ABC Cooperative Bank. The FD matures on this date. So for 10 lakhs, 9%. How many months? From 110 to 31st March. How many months are there? 6 months. Find out the interest for 6 months. Come on. 40? So which is more than what? The limit 40,000. What about the TDS applicable? TDS applicable or not? Applicable. How much? 10%. 4,500 TDS is leviable under section 194A. As the value is more than 40,000, TDS is applicable at the rate of 10%. 1624, Mr. Ganesh made 3 9 months FDs of 3 lakhs each, carrying interest at the rate of 9% with the Dwaraga branch, Janakpuri branch, and Rohini branch. Bank which has adapted CBS, okay, core banking system. Then you have to club all this value, 3 lakhs. How many 3 lakhs? 3 lakhs. What is the rate of interest? 9%. How many months? From 16 to 28 to 9 months. For 9 months, what is the total interest payable? 60,750. As the interest more than 40,000 rupees CBS system, TDS at the rate of 10% is applicable. 6,075. On 1/10/24, Mr. Rajesh started 6 months recurring deposits of rupees 2 lakhs and 8% per annum with PQR. The recurring deposit matures on this day. 1/10/24, 1/11/24, 1/12/24, 1/1/25, 1/1/12/25, 1/3/25, and all the money got matured on 31/3/25. So here 2 lakhs. The rate of interest being 8%. How many months? You can use the product method. 2 lakhs will be there. Here 6 months interest, 5 months interest, 4 months interest, 3 months interest, 2 months interest, and 1 month interest will be applicable. What is the total here? 21. Am I right? 21. So 2 lakhs into 21 month product is calculated. For that, 8% will be calculated for how many months? 1 month. I have converted that into the month, so I have to reconvert that to year by dividing this 12. Come on, what is the value? 28,000. Or you can calculate independently for every year. For the first period, 2 months, 2 lakhs for 6 months, another 2 lakhs for 5 months. That's how you can calculate, no problem. Or you can calculate here 1 month into 2 lakhs into 8%. What is the value finally? 1 month 2 lakhs into 8% per month into 1/12 into 1/12. 16,000 divided by 12 per month. 1,000? 333, 2,667. Here 3,990 or 4,000 rupees. That's how you can calculate and sum this. Your choice. Your choice. Now this value is less than or equal to 40,000 rupees. So no TDS is applicable here. No TDS is applicable. Clear? Now, I have completed B and BB, where if the value is less than or equal to 10,000, TDS is not applicable. In case the price is in kind, you can release the price only on submission of tax payment by the recipient. He has to pay the tax ahead. Okay, only then you can release the payment price. So up to 10,000 not taxable. Exempt if the value is less than or equal to 10,000. Now 194C. 194C. So BA I missed. So BA is also about winning. BBA, BB. This is all about online gaming. Okay. The threshold limit in this case is only 100 rupees. There 10,000, here 100 rupees. When the total withdrawal exceeds 100 rupees, the same or subsequent month, TDS is deductible. TDS is deductible. Okay, if you are withdrawing, if it is not withdrawal, then by the end of the year you have to pay the TDS at all. You have to pay the TDS. Is that okay? And 194C. Contract for job work. Contract for job work. Any person, okay, any person. Here, individual, HUF, AOP, and BOI. Okay, falls under section 44 AB in the last previous year and others. So who will not fall under this case? Individual halfway AOP BOI not required to go for tax audit under section 44 AB is not required for 194C. So he got escaped to deduct the TDS under section 194C due to this provision. What's that? Last previous year his accounts not required to be audited. If he gets escaped to deduct the TDS under this 194C, automatically he may be having the chance to getting caught under section 194M, M for many. So if he escape there, he may get caught in that under section 184M also, right? Here, payment being to any person, this any person may be individual or half or others. So in case of others, TDS rate being 2%, in case of individual half, it's only 1%. Is that clear? Clear? So two conditions to be noted. Payer should fall under tax audit under section 44 AB in case if he is being the individual half AOP and BOI. Other than that, they will definitely fall under the TDS deduction category. For the recipient, if he is being the individual and half, rate of TDS is only 1%, otherwise 2%. And what about the limit, sir? The job or contract payment is not taxable if the limit is less than or equivalent to 30,000 in single payment, okay, or in aggregate less than or equivalent to 100,000. What does it mean? This person makes the payment to him 25,000. What about the TDS? No, sir. If he makes a payment 35,000, TDS is applicable. Okay, payable to A, not TDS, payable to B, TDS is applicable. Payable to C, how much? First quarter he made a payment of 20,000, thereafter another 25,000, thereafter another 50, probably another 25,000, again another 25,000. So currently how much is paid? 95 over, but each and every payment is within 30,000 limit. Then he makes another 10,000. What happens, sir? Not taxable. But if you are aggregating by this time, his overall value is 105. You know, as it is being 105, automatically 2% or 1% TDS will be leviable on the last payment. So 2% on 1,05,000 is how much? 2,100. So for the last payment 10,000, 2,100 is subtracted, balance 7,900 is payable. 7,900 is payable. Suppose in the last payment rather than 10,000, if it is being 5,500, what about the scenario, sir? This case also the limit is crossed to 1 lakh. So the total value being 1,500,000. Am I right? 1,500,000 rupees. Naturally, he has to pay what? I think here another 5,000 and finally 500 rupees. Two installment 20, 25, 5,000 and 500. So by this time only, up to this no TDS. By this time automatically his aggregate commission crossed to 1 lakh. TDS is applicable at the rate of 2%. The 2% on this being 2,100. Am I right? 2010. Okay, 2010. But the final payment is only 500. No. How can I deduct 2010 from this 500? Not possible. Then the TDS is restricted to the extent of final payment. 500 only. 500 only. Is that clear? So in this case, if the single payment is less than or equal to 30,000, TDS is not applicable. Not only that, the aggregate payment to the same recipient in that whole year, the moment it crosses 1 lakh, TDS is leviable up to 1 lakh, not taxable. And this will be for business purpose. If it is for personal purpose, TDS is not deductible. So for personal purpose, TDS is not deductible. Is that okay? The same payment made to the transporter who owns less than or equivalent to 10% of vehicle, TDS is not applicable. Okay. No TDS if the transport provided by seller of natural gas. If the transporter providing the natural gas to whom if you are making any payment, TDS is not applicable. Contract includes, the contract may be not only that vehicles, may include some other things also, like advertisement, broadcast, telecast, catering, carriage of goods, passenger other than railway also includes subcontract. All these things are falling into this case. Not only that, job work may be manufacturing, supplying of any product as per the specification of the customer out of the material purchased also be falling under the job work case. Is that clear? Hope you will be now able to understand. Now, predominant cases to be noted here being this one. What is that? Okay. In case of individual and half, less than or equivalent to the rate being 1%, 1%, others the rate being 2%. And less than or equal to 30,000 not taxable, less than or equal to 100,000 in case of aggregate not taxable, not TDS deductible. And 44 AB, keep this idea in your mind. Whenever I use the term 44 AB, the payer should fall under tax audit in the last previous year. That too, the payer should be individual and half majority cases. Here AOP and BOA also be included. Is that clear? Now, see, A has given a job work to B, B being the job worker. B does the work on behalf of A and raises the bill. While raising the bill, A may send the material worth rupees 1 lakh. B can convert the raw material into finished goods and returns it after the finishing of the goods. By the time the worth may be 2 lakhs. Here, what is the value for the job work? Only 1 lakh? No. TDS is deductible only on 1 lakh, not 2 lakhs. Provided in the job work, it should be clearly stated job work charges being 1 lakh. Or he can show this way. A may say to B, I cannot send the material. You can purchase the material nearby. I'll just give the order and you can purchase. I'll settle separately. So then B makes it ready and sends it to A. By the time material 1 lakh, job work charges 1 lakh. In this case, TDS is also to be deductible only this 1 lakh. But A demands, I need this finished goods. You plan yourself, purchase wherever you feel comfortable and send me the finished goods, you'll get the commission. Then job worker raises the invoice as 2 lakhs for the finished goods. Then TDS is applicable on 2 lakhs. Now the question is, TDS is applicable only for the job work alone or full value including the material. If you are able to find out the material value separately from the invoice, TDS is applicable only for the job work, not full value. If it is not demarcated or separated in the invoice, then you have to pay the TDS for all the value. In case of job work, TDS is on invoice excluding value of material, provided if material mentioned separately in the invoice. The invoice including the value of the material will be considered, the 2 lakhs will be considered for the TDS purpose if material not mentioned separately in the invoice. Is that clear? Now, seventh point, TDS is applicable payment by client to advertising agency if it is being the contract. Okay, if it is being the contract, TDS is applied. C, probably TV channel or newspaper and advertising agency is there, and advertisers getting connected through advertising agency, and A makes the payment to newspaper for the advertisement done by A for in this newspaper. This value may be 1 lakh. On this, newspaper releases 10,000 rupees as commission to AA, advertising agency. Is that okay? Clear? Now, this is only commission. TDS is applicable. TDS is applicable. There's some variations. What is that? TV channel or newspaper, advertising agency, advertisers. There's a close connection between advertisers and advertising agency. This advertising agency books the advertising page with newspaper. Sir, I want this much size for my advertisement. Take 1 lakh rupees. In this advertising agency may split and sell to n number of different customers. N number of different customers. Clear? Now, newspaper sells the space and the advertising agency sells the space to various advertisers A, B, C and all by collecting 10,000 each. Right? Now the question is, what about the TDS on this 1 lakh? Do I want to collect the TDS? No, sir. No required. Payment by advertisement agency to TV channel and newspaper company in this case. But advertising agency does a agency business for the newspaper, collecting the new means advertisements and hands over to the newspapers. For the service, if they are getting the commission, then automatically it comes under TDS. Else TDS will not be applicable. Even payment by TV channel, newspaper to advertisement agency, for that also TDS is not applicable. It is discount only. It is a discount only. So this will be usually escaped. But if the agency behaves like a contractee for the newspaper, only then TDS will be applicable. Okay. If he has a principle like, I do my own operations, I sell and collect the money from you, or I'll get the space 1 lakh and I sell to customers for 1 lakh 20, for that TDS is not applicable. Okay. Similarly, if I'm getting any lesser discounted value, then it's also discount not coming under means agency. So the TDS is not applicable. Now, some small disputes is there. For the disputes, point 8 and 9 is available or available for clarification. For clarification. In case of payment for cold storage facility, okay, payment for cold storage facility 194C is applicable, but payment for warehouse facility, no, 194I will be applicable. Okay, I have the cold storage facility. Then customers are coming and keeping their items to be preserved in the controlled temperature. I may charge small amount. Then this will come under 194C, contract payment. In case if I have the warehouse and letting out the warehouse for storing the material, then it will come under letting out of the premises, like, okay. So then that will fall under 194I. Cold storage facility falls under 194C. Warehouse facility, general warehouse will fall under 194I. Because in case of storage, cold storage facility, it's not only renting the space, other things also to be maintained, the controlled temperature and freezer and monitoring the other things also. So then apart from the regular letting out of the space service, they do some other services. So it will not fall under 194I, it will fall under 194C. Then finally, payment made by TV channel or broadcasters to the production of content program. Okay. C, TV channel and production company. TV channel gives the content and the compensation. Probably I will pay you, say, 5 crores. You have to prepare a content as per my request. So this production company prepares as per the TV company's requirement and sells that entire content produced. Okay. Okay. Then here TDS is applicable. TDS is applicable. Clear? So Netflix original, Amazon Prime original, like you may see lots of OTT programs. For that, Netflix or Amazon may give content to be created and compensation also be provided. And then production house will produce that content and hands over to the TV channel. And this will be a contract between the TV channel and producing company. Then TDS will be applicable under 194C. And TV and producers. Producers produced some pictures or some content already. Now This producing company sends this uh, probably some web series or whatever it may be, gets the compensation, say probably 5 crores for 1 year. After the 1 year, he can withdraw and still he can transfer to somebody else. Still, he has the ownership. Here, this entire content is purchased because made ready by the production house as per the requirement of TV. Then there is a contractor relationship. Here, production company is the owner for the content, temporarily allowing the TV channel to telecast for a rental purpose. Like so, it comes under rental. Like so, right of the content already produced is transferred. So, in this case, no TDS is applicable. Okay. So, if the program is as per the specification and copyright is also transferred, TDS is applicable. It's already produced content and TDS will not be applicable. Hope you will be able to now understand section 194C. So, all other additional points to understand better. That's all, not more than that. Now, let's try to solve some practical questions from this particular TDS chapter. Now, ABC Limited makes the following payments to Mr. J, Mr. X, a contractor for contract work during the previous year, 1/5/24, 20,000, 1/8/24, 25,000, 1/12/24, another 28,000. All the values are less than 30,000 rupees. So, not taxable. On 1/3/25, another 30,000 rupees. Recipient being Mr. X. So, what is the tax rate applicable? TDS rate is applicable 1%. So, cumulative being 20, 45, and 73, 1,03,000. The moment the last payment is made, it crossed 1,00,000 rupees, then TDS is applicable. TDS will be applicable at the rate of 1% on this, being 1030. This 1030 will be deductible from the last payment. Earlier, we have already completed payment. For the last payment, from the 30,000 rupees, 1,030 is deducted. So, 28,970 will be the final payment. Is that clear? Okay. 28, okay, 28,970. Okay. A comma seems to be a circle. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Now, Moon TV, a television channel, Moon TV, made payment 50 lakhs to the production house. For telecasting as per the specification given by the channel. The copyright of the program is also transferred to Moon TV. So, production house made the content ready and completely the right is also transferred. Complete right is transferred. Okay. Would such payment be liable for the TDS? Yes. Also examine whether the provisions of tax deductions at source under section 194C would be attracted if the payment was made by Moon TV for acquisition of telecasting rights of the content already produced by the production house. No, in this case, no, because it's already available. So 194C applicable only if it is for business purpose. Personal purpose not applicable. This one also be the core points to be noted here. Now let's go for 194D. D insurance, very simple. The limit is 15,000 and rate is 5%. payer being insurance company, recipient being the agent, insurance agent. So 5% and less than 15,000 rupees, less than or equal to 5%, less than or equal to 15,000, not taxable. Not taxable. Clear? Then DA, maturity value of ULIP and Keyman insurance policy. Payer, you are aware about that, insurance company, recipient being resident. 5% will be leviable. With effect from 1/10/24, it is only 2%. Okay. If the premium paid, Mr. A, LIC company, premium paid being 1 lakh per month for 5 years. On maturity, he gets around 7 lakhs. Okay. So this is what about the maturity value. The difference between these two, 5 lakhs is invested, 7 lakhs it gets only 2 lakhs additionally it gets, for that only TDS is applicable. That to 5% or 2%. But are you able to recollect this information? Yeah. If it is as per this provision is exempted and TDS is not applicable. What is that? If the premium paid is less than 10% or 20%, or sometimes 15%, as the case may be, you recollect with section 80C. And capital assets, 2.5 lakhs. If the ULIP policy premium being more than 2.5 lakhs, then it's taxable. Otherwise, it's not so. And if the aggregate amount is also less than or equal to 1 lakh, then of course TDS is not applicable. Aggregate amount, including premium and policy amount, both put together, means maturity value. Okay. So here, what's the percentage? 5% or 2%. If it is less than or equal to 1 lakh, TDS is not applicable, or section 10 clause 10D, as per that provision, if it is exempted, not taxable. TDS will be leviable only on maturity value minus premium pay. Maturity value minus premium pay. We'll see the illustration here. 194D. Examine the applicability of the provisions of TDS. Mr. X, a resident, is due to receive 4.5 lakhs on 31/3/25 towards maturity of proceeds. LIC policy taken on 1/4/22, for which the sum assured being 4 lakhs and premium paid 1,25,000. If the premium payable on or after 1/4/2012 should be less than 10% on the sum assured, yes, everything will be disqualified for claiming the deduction. So here the payment is more than 10%. 10% being only 40,000 rupees, but payment is this much. Definitely TDS is applicable as per this limit. As per this limit, TDS is applicable. 10% crossed. So TDS is applicable. Next, what about the maturity value? If the maturity value is more than 1 lakh, also be applicable. And when do you receive this? On or after 1/10/24. Okay, then what's the rate you can use? You can use 2% also. 2%. So what is the value? 4.5 lakhs minus every year you are investing 1.25 lakhs. For how many years you are invested? Annual premium 125, invested on 1/4/2022, 22, 23, 24 and 25 he withdraws. He might have invested 3 times. So into 3,75,000 he might have invested. So the balance value being 75,000. As the case may be, 5% or 2% will be leviable. 5% means 3,750 will be leviable. Is that okay? So I calculated using the old provision 5%. In case of new provision, it's only 2%. Clear? 1,500. Mr. Y, a resident, is due to receive 3.25 lakhs on 31/3/25 on LIC policy taken on 31/3/2012. If the policy taken on or before 31/3/2012, What is the value is allowed for the premium? 20% of the sum assured. 20% of the sum assured. So for the 3 lakhs, 20%, 60,000 rupees, the premium is within the limit. Definitely no TDS is applicable. Okay, this provision is very important. Mr. Z, a resident, is due to receive 95,000. 95,000 is the overall value itself less than or equal to 1 lakh. No TDS is liable. You no need to further worry about this. Hope now you'll be able to understand DA calculations also. Let's now move on to the G. G 5% and 15,000 sale of lottery ticket and 5 becomes 2. Similar to what? 194D. 194D. Okay. So G similar to 194D. 5%, one more condition, 2%. And less than or equal to 15,000, not taxable. Not taxable. So the points what I am covering in this page is very important. That's more than enough for keeping those ideas in your mind, right? Okay. Next, let's move on to the next one. In scenario H, similar. Also commission and brokerage, no. The same concept. Provided individual and half is the matter. Okay. Individual and half. 194H. 44AB. 44AB. In case of 44AB, payer being individual and half, not covered under pay means 44AB tax audit in the last previous year, not required to worry about 194H. The rest will be the same condition, 5%. Okay. So all the commissions are grouped into same numbers. This commission, this commission, this commission. Okay. 5%. Less than or equal to 15,000, not worry about. 44AB is applicable. Already I told you, 44AB will be applicable for this one, this one, this one. Due to this, if you escape, there is a chances that you may get caught under section 194M. What are they? Contract, professional fees, brokerage and commission, the same three. If you are escaped from those three sections, then keeping one more additional condition, you may get caught under section 194M. Then rent. It's very simple. Rent. I pay rent, right? So 10% if the rental income payment is more than 2,40,000 per month, 20,000 rupees. If the rental payment is more than 20,000 rupees used for the business purpose, definitely TDS will be deductible. TDS will be deductible, business purpose. Right. In case the rental is not for the land and building or furniture related to the plant and machinery, the limit is only 2%. The level is only 2%. Is that okay? Now, the 2,40,000 limit is applicable for every co-owner. If the property is owned by two persons, rent payment may be 40,000 rupees. 20 for one owner, another 20 for another owner. Okay. Plant and machinery 2%. For the land and building and furniture, 10% will be applicable. Okay. I pay rent. %2 for plant and machinery, 10% for land and building and furniture. Less than or equal to 2.4 lakhs per annum exempted per owner. Okay, per owner. Predominantly related to business. Right. If it's not the business owner, audit is not required, right? Automatically. So he will be escaped. TDS is applicable on non-refundable deposits also. Receipts of arrears of rent or advance of rent also. Okay. If you are collecting the deposit stating it is not going to be refundable, it is anyhow going to be adjusted in the rent means also part of the rental only. If the all the value put together crosses 2.4 lakhs, then TDS will be applicable. If the rent is paid to REIT and rent is payable for landing and parking charges of airport authority, and in this case REIT, TDS is not applicable. This REIT is applicable only for the final students. Real estate investment trust. Real estate investment trust. I have created a trust by collecting money from various people or from the company. Using the money, I can purchase the real estate property. Okay, shopping complex or big flats. My intention is to let out and earn the money. That's what about my intention. I don't do any other risky thing. I collect the money and invest that in the real estate. And if I'm collecting the rent for my REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust, TDS is not applicable. Similarly, airport. Flights may be landed here or there, right? For that, airport authority demands rent for the parking and landing. Is that okay? Without which, how can you fly? So you need to have the landing. Now the question is, TDS under section 194I is applicable or not? Now here, TDS number under section 194I will not be applicable because they are not simply providing what? Space for letting out. They provide other amenities for emergency purpose, for excavating the passenger from aeroplane and other things also, and cleaning and all the service provided together. No, it will not fall under what? Only letting out of the property. It comprises various other provisions also, or facilities also. So some professional services required, for those things. So 194C, contract like will be attracted, not 194I. This is for some special one-word questions. In case of rent paid by the aeroplane companies to airport authority for landing and parking, will it fall under 194I or C? It fall under 194C. So rent may be around 30,000 rupees per month. So for the year 3,60,000, then TDS is applicable. But the landlord collected 40,000 rupees for the municipal tax also for 4 lakhs. Now the TDS is applicable on what? Only this 360, not for this 40. Any amount payable to the municipal taxes included in rent is excluded for the TDS payment. Right. And the recipient of rent can give declaration stating don't deduct. That's how we can also demand. You no need to deduct. I will take care of those things also. That's how we can give the declaration. Hope you will be now able to understand section 194I. Now, Strong Limited has taken machinery on rent. The rent is payable in advance on the first day of each month. 12,000 rupees per month into 12, 1,44,000. But anyhow, it is less than 2,40,000. Nothing is taxable. Nothing is taxed. TDS is not applicable here. Then, immovable property case. Not being rural agricultural land. A transfers his residence house property to B. For that, B gives the consideration. If the consideration is less than 50 lakhs, TDS is not applicable. If it is more than 50 lakhs or equal to 50 lakhs, TDS is applicable. Okay, at the rate of 1%. Small number. To collect this 1%, we are confirming that TDS is applicable there. TDS is applicable there. Is that clear? To confirm there is a transaction. It is intimated anyway to the government. Okay. So no TDS consideration if it is less than 50 lakhs. Jointly owned property, 50 lakhs is considered in aggregate. Okay. Jointly owned property, 2 or 3 holding. Okay. See, if you are making the payment 5 lakhs and then 20 lakhs and then 5 lakhs temporarily, for each and every payment you have to deduct the TDS 1% if the overall consideration crosses 50 lakhs. Is that okay? That's all. So 50 lakhs and consideration, the TDS rate is very small number, 1%. If the value is bigger, the values, the TDS being only very, very less, 1%. Why? This is nothing but intimation to the government. There's a huge transaction between the parties. Any of this 1%, anyhow, he will collect it. He will collect it. Is that clear? While paying the tax, he will adjust this. In this case, 1%. And then if the value is less than 50 lakhs, not taxable. Not taxable. Now, rent of immovable property. It's one of the interesting concept. Okay. So we'll try to finish off illustration for IA first of all. Mr. X sold his house property in Bangalore as well as his rural agricultural land for a consideration of 60 lakhs and rural agri land 15 lakhs to Mr. Y. He has purchased the house property and then the land in the year 23 for rupees 40 lakhs and 10 lakhs respectively. Cost of acquisition for him being 23 lakhs, sorry, 40 lakhs and 10 lakhs respectively. But this house property is stamp duty value being 85 lakhs and this one being 20 lakhs. Okay. Examine the tax implications in the hands of Mr. X, Mr. Y and TDS. Everything covered here. Interesting. Now let's see Mr. X first of all. Rural agri land is not capital asset, so forget about this calculation. This is not considered at all. For Mr. X, sale consideration by applying section 50C, stamp duty value or sale consideration, whichever is higher, will be taken. So 85 lakhs minus cost of acquisition for him being 40 lakhs. 45 lakhs is capital gain, short term capital gain. While making the payment, actual payment is 60 lakhs. 194 IA will be applicable. As per 194 IA, it is applicable for whom? For Y, for the payer. So let me calculate for Mr. Y case. In case of Mr. Y, he gets the immovable property for inadequate consideration. If the inadequate consideration is less than 50, then that inadequate consideration is considered as gift. So income from other sources. How much is that? 85 minus 65, 60 lakhs, 25 lakhs is falling under income from other sources. Apart from that, Mr. Y is the payer for this consideration. Leave this one for this. He has to deduct the TDS for the actual payment. The actual payment being 60 lakhs. For that, 1% TDS will be leviable. 1% on this being 60,000 TDS is leviable. One of the interesting concept, right? In practical life, you need to link all these things here or there. So very interesting, right? So unless you link all these things, you cannot actually calculate the tax liability for your SSC. Okay. So this topic seems to be tedious, but it's connected with capital gains as well as income from other sources, even TDS chapter. Clear? One of the nice illustration. Come on, make a note of it. We'll then move on to the next one if it is clear. Now, let's move on to the next one. IB. It's one of the interesting concept. Okay. If you are paying interest, sorry, rent for land and building, it covered under section 194I. Okay. Especially uh, if he is not falling under 44AB, he escaped, isn't it? Last previous year, he should fall under tax audit. If he escaped from 194I, then he may get caught under 194IB. Earlier, we have seen three sections. If you are escaped from there, 194M is applicable. Similarly, if you are escaped from 194I, then you may get caught under section 194IB. Provided here rental value is less than or equivalent to 50,000 per month, exempted. There is only 20,000 rupees per year, 2 lakhs. What here 50,000 means 6 lakhs rental. If you are having the rent, means house property for your residential purpose, not for the business purpose, and stating that my rental income is more than 20, then 194I is not applicable. Most of the people keeping the house property for residential purpose, stating that my rental is 40,000, 50,000, but for residential purpose, I no need to pay the TDS. Then immediately government comes for rescue. If it is more than 50, immediately you will be liable to pay TDS, even though if it is used for your personal purpose, even though if you are not falling under section 44AB in the last previous year. Now the interesting question is, when do you pay the TDS? Earlier it's a month after month. Here it's not month after month. It's the last month of the year. Last month of the year. Okay. If you are vacating ahead of that, last month of vacating. But if the TDS is not even sufficient enough, the last payment of rent is sufficient enough for payment of TDS, what you can do? Your TDS payment is restricted to the last payment. So these are the three core aspects you have to cover. Usually, TDS is payable in the last month. Last month of the year or last month of vacating. But if the rent for the last month is more than TDS, no problem. Rent being 60,000, TDS being 40,000, you can subtract and balance 20,000, you can pay. But in a reverse case, rent being 60, TDS being 1 lakh, how can you subtract? Then your TDS being only 60. Okay, the last rent will be considered as your rate, TDS amount. The rate being 5%, if the PAN is not given, 20% will be taken. PAN is not given. PAN of the landlord is missing, then 20% will be taken. To make you understand, we now discuss this illustration. Mr. X, a salaried individual, pays rent rupees 55,000 per month to Mr. M from June 24. Is he required to deduct the tax at source? If so, when is he required to deduct the tax? Okay, so 55,000 per month, definitely he has to deduct because it is more than 50. From June month onwards, so 10 months are there, so into 10, 5,50,000 rupees, definitely you have to claim the TDS at the rate of 5%. Okay, at the rate of 5%, we assume he has given the PAN number. He has given the PAN number. What is the value? 27,500. When he has to pay? For the March 25 rent being 55,000, in that you can deduct the TDS 27,500. Okay, rent for March month and TDS can be deductible. Complete TDS is deductible in the last month. Balance 27,500 is payable. But if PAN is not given, 55,000 into 10 into 20% will be leviable. Then what is the value? 1 lakh 10,000. The March month rent is 55,000 and deduct to 1 lakh 10,000. No chance to deduct. So your TDS itself restricted to only 55,000. Would your answer change if Mr. X vacated the premises on 31st December itself? What happens? Vacated case. PAN is given. 55,000 into up to December 7 months only. For that 5% being how much? 19,250. Now you have to consider December 24 salary, so rent. December 2024 rent being 55,000. From that last payment, he can subtract TDS 19,250. Balance is payable in this month. How much is that? 35,750. If the TDS PAN number is not given, 55,000 into 7 into 20% will be leviable. How much is that? 77,000. In this case, December month rent 55, TDS 77, anyhow restricted to only amount available. So TDS being 55,000. Is that clear? 194 IB is also over. Now we'll move on to the next one. In this case, 5% or 20% if PAN is not there. Less than 50,000 rupees per month exempted. Now we'll move on to the professional charges 194J. 194J. TDS rate being 10%. And yes, of course, 44AB is applicable. For the three sections, 44AB is directly applicable and 194I is there. If you are escaped from 194I, IB will be there. So rate being 10%. In case of call center, fee for technical service, royalty on sale or distribution or exhibition of movie, in these cases only 2% is applicable. Okay. And what are falling under professional services? Okay, maybe professional services, technical services, and royalty, non-compete fee, and director fee. All these things are, all the five will be considered as professional services. Professional services include umpire, sports person, sports entertainer. Some technical service you can do, for that you will get the fee. Computer related technical services and all. And royalty, you may get the royalty by transferring the software. Okay, transfer of software is a royalty. Retransfer of software is not royalty. Okay, first transfer will be considered as royalty. Non-compete fee. So I allow you stop your actions or stop your business for your consideration, then it's called non-compete fee. We might have studied that in PGBP chapter. If I am paying the non-compete fee, that will also falls under TDS, means the professional services. This is not applicable for individual and HUF. And in case of director fee, TDS is applicable fully. In all the four category, if the limit is less than or equal to 30,000, nothing is taxable. Mr. X, okay, from company A, B, C, D or company ABC. From company ABC, Mr. X gets what? Professional services value less than or equal to 30,000. What about the TDS? No. Also gets technical services also less than or equal to 30, not taxable. Also he gets royalty from the same company in the same year not taxable. And non-compete fee from the same company, it means for every segregated professional services, 30,000 limit will be applicable. For the professional services separately, can enjoy 30 from the same company. If he gets another 30, but stating this is not professional service, for technical services, he can enjoy the benefit of no TDS. If he gets the director's fee, even 1 rupee TDS is applicable. The limit is not applicable. Okay, this 30,000 limit is not applicable for the director's fee. TDS is applicable fully. No TDS for individual and half if the payment for professional services for personal purpose. If it is being the personal purpose, not taxable. Because of this reason, if he gets escape, then automatically 194 M will come. Is that okay? Here you list down here. 10% or 2%. And 30,000 less than or equal to 30,000 for 4 items. Professional, technical, royalty. Okay. Non-compete. All the 4. XYZ Limited makes payment 28,000 to Mr. Ganesh on this date towards fee for professional services. Another payment 25,000 on the same date towards technical services. For technical service up to 25,000, 30,000 is exempted. For professional services up to 30,000 is exempted. Because of this reason, so both will be not taxable. Both will be not taxable. Now, 194K, any income generated from any units other than capital gains nature will be chargeable to TDS at the rate of 10%. Up to 5,000 it is not taxable. Similar to dividend claim. Similar to dividend. From the share, if you are getting the dividend, then 5%, 10% will be leviable in excess of 5,000. Similarly, instead of dividend, if you are getting the dividend like from units, also the same conditions will be applicable, right? So I can write it down here. Very simple. Similar to dividend. 10% less than or equal to 5,000 not taxable. Similar to section 194. Now let's go for LA. TDS and compensation for compulsory acquisition of immovable property. Okay. If the value is less than or equal to 2.5 lakhs, nothing will be available. Otherwise, 10% will be TDS applicable. If the asset is compulsorily acquired, this asset not being the rural agri land. Rural agri land means it's not capital asset at all. So other assets compulsorily acquired, then automatically, if the value being more than 2.5 lakhs, then TDS is applicable there of 10%. That's all. LA is that's all. Clear? So M, it's a combination of 3 sections. Where you are escaped from those 3 sections, then you will fall under these sections. Right. Contract, professional fees, brokerage and commission. Individual and half not falling under other sections. 194C, contract, professional fees 194J and 194H for commission. If you are escaped from here, then you will fall under this case. 5% later it is 10%, but the limit is very big number, 50 lakhs and above. Okay. For the personal purpose, do you pay 50 lakhs and more than 50 lakhs to any contractor? While constructing your residential house property, the property construction value may go up to 60 lakhs or 70 lakhs, then TDS is applicable. Rather than house property, if you are doing any other interior decoration or any land development or any other purpose for that, if you are spending more than 50 lakhs, then also it will fall. Okay. Some grandeur marriage may be organized spending crores and crores, where the contractor gets 5 crores or 10 crores as contract charges. For that, TDS is applicable. Hope you will be now able to understand. For personal purpose only, sir, stating the personal purpose, you cannot escape, because the limit is very high, 50 lakhs and above. 5%, later on it is 10%. Here 5%, later on converted into 10%. If the value is less than or equal to 50 lakhs, nothing is taxable. Even though for personal purpose, this will be applicable. Now, examine whether TDS provisions would be attracted in the following payments, and if so, under which section. Also specify the rate of TDS applicable in each case. Mr. Ganesh, an individual carrying on retail business with a turnover of rupees 2.5 crore. So this is related to the business purpose. Prior to the previous year, his turnover is 2.5 crore, means 44 AB is applicable. If 44 AB as far as business purpose is applicable, then 194 M will not be applicable. Naturally, 194 C, J, or H will be applicable. Now the payment is for contract, then automatically it falls under 194 C. Here payment of commission, brokerage and commission will fall under 194 H. Okay. Now, here though he is doing business, but this is for residential house property. So then 194C is not applicable. 194M is applicable. But 194M means the value should be more than 50 lakhs. So no. So what about the TDS? Not applicable here. 194C is not applicable, though he is falling under tax audit, but the purpose of this 5 lakh spending is residential purpose. So 194C will not be applicable. Okay, as he escaped, can we cross verify whether will he be falling under 194M? No, sir, they are also not falling because the 194M says up to 50 lakhs not taxable. Here the value is 5 lakhs only, not taxable. 194H, this is business purpose. Then here 194H will be applicable. More than 15,000 is automatically applicable. More than 15,000 is applicable. So TDS is applicable in this case. Mr. Rajesh, wholesale trader whose turnover is 95 lakhs, then 44 AB is not applicable. 44 AB is not applicable. Contract payment for construction of residential house property, then what happens here? 194C is not applicable. Okay, so as is not falling under 194C, we have to immediately go and cross check whether 194M is applicable or not. In case of 194M, 50 lakhs is the value in aggregate. Here the payment made for constructing the residential house property in total being 55 lakhs. So definitely TDS is applicable for each and every installment payment. If the aggregate value is more than 50 lakhs, then automatically you have to deduct the TDS for each and every installment payment. Mr. Sadish, salaried individual, 44 AB will not come. Payment of brokerage for buying the residential house. Brokerage will fall under 194H. But anyhow, 194H is not applicable in this case as it is for the personal purpose. Then you can go and check whether 194M is applicable. For that, the transaction value should be more than 50 lakhs. Yes, it is 51 lakhs. TDS is applicable under what section? 194M. Now, Dheeraj, a pensioner, contract payment made during October-November 24 for construction of residential house property. Contract 194C is not applicable as is being the pensioner not falling under 44 AB. Apart from that, it is a residential house property also not falling. But you can go and cross verify 194M, where under 194M 50 lakhs should be the transaction value. Here the value is less than that, so TDS is not applicable in the last case. Clear? So 3 section interlinked with 194M here. Almost all the major concepts are over. Major concepts are over here. After small provisions will finish up faster. No problem here. 194N. If you are withdrawing cash from the bank, post office, cooperative bank, okay, beyond certain limit, automatically TDS will be applicable. TDS will be applicable. Is that clear? Now, now, see, any person, any person not being cooperative bank, not being cooperative bank. Okay. Now the question is, has he filed RY or no filing of RY in the last 3 years? Okay. Then you can withdraw only 10 lakhs. You can withdraw only 10 lakhs in a year. Okay. Sorry, 20 lakhs. 20 lakhs. If you file RY, you can withdraw almost 100 lakhs from your bank account. If you withdraw more than 100 lakhs, 2% TDS will be leviable. Suppose if you have not filed RY, your limit is only 20 lakhs. If you cross withdrawing more than 20 lakhs, so less than 20 lakhs, no problem. If you are withdrawing anywhere between 20 lakhs to 100 lakhs, 2% TDS will be leviable. If you withdraw more than 100 lakhs, 5% TDS will be leviable. Means 1 crore. If you are withdrawing 1 crore, bank will deduct 5%. 5 lakhs. You will be getting only 95 lakhs. Sir, what happens, sir? If I withdraw 1 crore, I will get only 95 lakhs? No, that 5 lakhs is deposited in your bank, in your tax account. You file the tax return, and while filing the tax return, prove that you don't have any income tax liability, then you will get the 5 lakhs refunded. Usually, there is no chances, because even if you are withdrawing 1 crore as a cash, definitely your turnover will be higher, your profit will also be higher. Usually, that will be for tax payment. There's a chances of refund also. Hope you will be now able to understand. Now, what happens in case of cooperative society, sir? Cooperative bank. The same. In case of cooperative bank, have they filed RY or no RY for the last three previous year? Last 3 years. Then this 100 lakhs is increased to 300 lakhs, 3 times. Only then 2% will be applicable. In this case, okay, the same like less than or equal to 20 lakhs, nothing. 20 lakhs to 300 lakhs, 2%. More than 300 lakhs, 5%. See the small difference. 100 becomes 300. That's all. Rest of the things are same in case of cooperative society. Even cooperative bank withdraws from another bank, of course, for them also TDS is applicable, because during the demonetization, lots of forgery happened routed through this cooperative bank only. Okay, cash demonetization happened. No, that time only cooperative bank helped to convert the cash into money. Right. No TDS if amount is less than or equal to 500 lakhs or 300 lakhs for cooperative bank, society or bank. Already I told you. Okay. This small information, you can keep this in your mind. Not applicable if the recipients are bank, post office, ATM, cash replacement agency, government, money changer, commission agent, trade operating under agricultural produce market committee. For these people, cash transaction is mandatory. So for them, this TDS will not be applicable on withdrawal. 194N. 194N. Clear? Now 194 O, gross amount supply of goods or services routed through e-com operator, e-com participant. Okay, so A, customer, and Amazon. Okay, A to Z, Amazon. A supplies the goods to the customer routed through A to Z and gets the collections and paid to A. For this, the overall collection payment is more than 5 lakhs, and A to Z deducts the TDS while releasing the payment at the rate of 1%. In the absence of PAN, 5% will be leviable. E-com operator. O represents e-com. Okay. E-com operator. Okay. 194 O. Clear? On the gross amount of sale. A sells to the customers and demands my payment being 7 lakhs. Then A to Z deducts 1% if the PAN is submitted by the supplier. Okay. If TDS is applicable for the services under section 194 O, 194J is not applicable. This is for not only goods and even services also applicable. In case of services, 194 O is applicable. If 194 O is applicable, 194 J is not applicable. There may be lots of online coaching platforms available. I am giving the classes through online coaching platform. I am getting the payment only from the service provider, e-com operator. For the overall collections, the payment may be more than say 10 lakhs in the year. Then that online platform coaching provider will deduct the TDS. In that case, 194 O will be applicable. 194 J will not be applicable. 194 J will not be applicable. Now 194 P is all about pension. See, this is for specified senior citizen age being 75 and more. To make them simple with the tax compliances. If he is being the senior citizen, age being 75 and more, gets only pension, and small amount he has in his own savings bank account, from that he gets only interest. That too, he has amount only in one account, not any other than that. In that case, the liability of paying the tax on the pension and interest is shifted to the banker. Banker will deduct the TDS and deposit on behalf of the pensioner. That senior citizen pensioner not required to file the ROI also. Forgets about the payment and filing of tax also. Specified bank applicable for the specified senior citizen, and that condition being he earns only pension income and only interest income from any account from the same bank. What is the rate applicable? What about the rate applicable for the senior citizen for that income? That will be applicable. And automatically TDS is calculated and deducted and deposited by the bank itself. And of course, if his income is less than taxable limit, TDS is not required. The benefit for that senior citizen is ROI is not required to be filed by that senior citizen. He is not required to file the ROI. Hope now we'll be able to understand this one. 194P. 194P. Now, $194 Q. In case of 194 Q, A and B. Okay, A sells the goods to B. For that, B makes a payment. Okay. In this case, (0.1%) if the payment exceeds 50 lakhs, then TDS will be applicable. 0.1% for 1 crore. If I calculate 0.1%, what is the TDS applicable? for 1 crore. 1.1 percentage. Probably 10,000. Is that no? Maybe, sir. Huh? 10,000 only, small amount deposited. It's nothing but intimating to the department that he has purchased goods worth rupees 50 lakhs and above. So, payer being buyer of goods, provided this buyer of goods, his gross receipts in the preceding financial year, not previous year, preceding to the previous year, exceeds 10 crore, only then this provision applicable for the buyer while making the payment, that sum of payment exceeds 50 lakhs, then 0.1% of that payment will be deductible. Clear? While you are purchasing from the central government and state government, this provision is not applicable. This provision is applicable for the buyer of goods whose turnover in the preceding financial year is more than 10 crore, then this condition will be applicable. 194Q will be applicable. Clear? And 194R. I recollect this 194Q along with the TCS in the next class. Okay. So we have to cross verify this 194Q with the TCS also. Right. Now, prerequisites of business or professions. Okay. Also, tax audit not required, any person to anybody else. Okay. The payment may be perquisites. The perquisites may be either predominantly cash or kind or both. In that case, the fair market value of the kind perquisites will be taken. The value of the case, in case of perquisites kind, fair market value will be taken. Except purchased and given, then purchase value will be taken. Manufactured and given, then the amount usually charged to the outsider will be taken. If these two information missing, then he can take the fair market value. If this perquisites value is less than or equal to 20,000, TDS is not applicable. Otherwise, TDS is applicable at the rate of 10%. Very simple. Okay. What happens, for the business transaction, they will give the complement like to supporters. Diwali duration or New Year duration, some diary and some New Year gift or articles, all those things are coming under perquisites value. If that value is more than 20,000, automatically TDS will be applicable. So almost all the sections are over. Before we go further, some theory, related theory, let me try to finish up this point. See, TDS is payable at the time of actual payment of this or crediting to his account, whichever is earlier. But in case of 192 salary, 192A EPF payment, winnings and insurance maturity value and compensation on compulsory acquisition land assets, cash withdrawal, all these things at the time of payment. If I credit the salary, if I credit suppose or 1 lakh or 2 lakhs payable as interest to somebody else's name outstanding, then immediately TDS is payable. But for purchasing an asset or LIC compensation, maturity value, that value may be 10 lakhs or 50 lakhs. Not at all received, but on crediting itself, I am asking you to deposit means it's really not possible. That's why you can keep the idea. Salary, EPF, winning, and insurance policy, maturity value, compulsory acquisition, compensation, cash withdrawal. In these cases, TDS will be deposited only at the time of payment, and all other cases, deduction or credit, whichever is earlier, will be taken. Most of the cases, the rate will be as per the rate specified that in section itself. But if the PAN is absent, then usually 20% will be considered between these two, whichever is higher will be taken. Here or there, I may use 20% also, so that you can link here directly. Section 191, direct payment of taxes by assessee. See, while releasing the payment, as per the TDS provision, I have to deduct the TDS and deposit. If I am not able to do that, I cannot claim that payment as my expenses under section 40 clause A. We have studied under PGBP. But the recipient says, sir, don't deduct. I will deposit my tax completely as per my own original certification, my original calculation. I will not cheat. If he demands don't deduct the TDS, will I be able to allow this? Yes, I can allow, but I have to get the certification from him. He may already applied from the applied and gets the certification from income tax department. In that case, we can allow the full payment without TDS also. In that case, the direct tax payment, the tax may be directly paid by the recipient he himself. So tax is not required to be deducted. In this case, liable to be deducted but is not actually deducted, or deducted but not paid in this case. Sometimes not deducted, sometimes actually deducted but not deducted and paid. In this case, what happens? Payer is deemed to be assessee in default. Okay, while making the payment, it's my responsibility to deduct and deposit. If I don't do it, or the recipient says you don't deduct, whatever reason may be, if I am not deducted, then automatically I may be named as deemed to be assessee in default. Deemed to be in assessee in default. Can I get escape? Yes, you can get escape. The moment when the original payee deposits the tax for that income after showing to the income tax department, gives me a certification, then my commitment is over. I'm not responsible for that at all. So, deemed to be an assessee in default, provided if the payee has not paid the tax. If he pays himself later on and gives me certificate, sir, I closed my payment. Okay, very happy. Until that period, this payer is called as assessee in default, deemed to be an assessee in default. In the very first class, I explained about some definitions about assessee. There, deemed to be an assessee in default. By the time I told you, I will teach this later on. So this later on comes here now. Deemed to be an assessee in default. You can go and study that assessee case here so that you'll be able to understand this logic. Now, section 195A, income payable net of tax. Net of tax. Actually, say dividend distributed by the company to the one of the shareholders in this year being say 12 lakhs. TDS deducted at the rate of 1%, 10%, 1.2 lakhs. So 10.8 lakhs TDS is deducted. If the assessee has no other income, find out the tax liability. While finding the tax liability, you have to find the tax liability on the gross income. But dividend received being only 10.8 lakhs. You have to calculate the tax on the gross income 12 lakhs. Come on, tell me what's the tax here? Up to 0.3 lakhs, nil, 3 to 7 lakhs, 20,000, 7 lakhs to 6 lakhs or 7 lakhs. Okay. 10 lakhs, 5, 15, 10%, how much? 30,000. And 10 lakhs to 12 lakhs, 15% 30,000. So 80,000 is the amount payable, and add the health and education cess. How much? Huh? 3,000. 3,200. Overall value being 80,000, 3,200. He has no other income except this one. Now he can subtract the TDS here. 10.8 lakhs. So 1.2 lakhs. 1.2 lakhs. 83,200. This is 120 lakh, 120,000, right? Okay. Balance will be refundable. Balance will be refundable. How much? 36.8 is refundable. This is how we can find out the net tax liability in case of TDS. Applies when the payer agrees to bear the tax liability on payments. This is also, you can say, sir, you don't deduct me, I can pay myself. That also be possible. Then the final payment is also as per these provisions. Can we get the exemption from the TDS? Of course, exemption can be claimable. Applies to specific entities that's receiving interest, dividend, or other income can claim exemption from TDS, especially for the government, RBI, corporations established under Central Act, mutual funds, and some other fund. For them, the TDS is not applicable. And you can, of course, get the certificate Okay. Rest of the other points we can connect with TCS. We can connect with TCS. Finish up along with the TCS, but before we wind up, we'll try to finish up the comprehensive illustration from TDS chapter. Yes, come on. We'll finish up comprehensive illustrations. We have been given small illustrations, 4 illustrations. Come on. Ashwin manufacturer, wholesaler furnishes you the following information: total turnover given in the previous year. Examine whether the provisions of TDS are attracted. This is the previous year. This is last previous year. Last previous year is turnover is more than 1 crore. Section 44 AB is applicable. Right. Now interest paid to UCO Bank. Interest paid to UCO Bank. Okay. What about this one? Okay. This is payment. Only for the receipts TDS is applicable. So section 194A, interest from other than securities, not applicable here because it's a payment. Contract payment to Raj. Contract payment will come under 194C. Ashwin manufacturer pays the contract payment to Raj. 2 contracts, 12,000 each. Not applicable because the individual limit is less than or equal to 30,000, excluded. Aggregate value less than or equal to 100,000 also be excluded. Here only 12,000, so not taxable. Shop rent. Shop rent will come under 194I. TDS is applicable up to, not applicable up to 2.4, but here it is 2.4 and more. So definitely TDS is applicable at the rate of 10%. So not applicable up to 2.4 lakhs. Here it crosses that. Commission paid to Balu. Commission will fall under section 194H. So this value is 7,000 up to 15,000 not taxable. So TDS is not applicable. Is that clear? So you know now what are the key points you have to understand. Concern section, applicable TDS for that, and exemption limit and rates. These things are only you can expect for answering in your examination. Beyond that, not required. These kinds of questions you may be expecting. Next question. Compute the amount of tax deductions at source on the following cases. Payment rupees 2 lakhs to Mr. R, a transporter. Transporter means you have to cross verify whether he is a small tax transporter or not. So he has 8 goods vehicle. So definitely TDS is not applicable. 194C not applicable as goods carriage he has is less than or equal to 10 vehicles. Right. Payment fee for technical services. Technical services will come under, this is 194C. This is coming under 194J. The value is 25,000, royalty 20,000. So here less than or equal to 30,000 is not taxable. For what? Professional fee, technical services, royalty, and then non-compete fee. In all these cases up to 30,000 not taxable. So TDS is not applicable. Payment of 25,000 for repair of building. Repairs of building. Maybe personal purpose. Nothing stated. So we assume it is personal purpose. So 194C. In case of 194C, contract or 194M. I'm not sure whether it's for personal purpose or commercial purpose. In case of commercial purpose, C will be applicable only if the value is more than 30,000 or aggregate more than 100,000. As in these two cases, less than these two, not applicable. Fourth one, payment of 2 lakhs made to Mr. A for purchase of diaries. Already told you, no, perquisites. Made according to the specification of Mrs. S Limited. However, no material was supplied. Then it's a job contract. So 194C will be applicable here. Job contract. Okay. Job charges. Here, no material was supplied for such diaries to Mr. A. So he directly purchases the diary only. He directly purchases the diary. he is not giving the job contract. Job contract means I will give the raw materials and other materials and I will give the specification as per that you have to prepare. Then it is coming under 194C. It is only purchasing of the dairy. Purchasing of the dairy is nothing but purchasing the quantity, commodity like, so it will not fall under 194C. Payment made 1,80,000 to Mr. Bharat for compulsory acquisition. In case of compulsory acquisition, you have to consider 194 LA, but the value should be 2,50,000. 2,50,000 rupees. So here it is less than that, so TDS is not applicable. Payment of commission. Commission will fall under section 194H and the limit is 15,000 rupees. Above then taxable, it is less than that, so not taxable. Not taxable. Is that okay? So all the content what I have shown here as a single page snapshot, you have to mug up that for answering all sort of questions. Okay, only one page. Only one page. So last two illustrations. Examine the applicability of TDS provisions and TDS amount. You have to find out the TDS provisions as well as amount. Rent paid for machinery, hire of machinery, 260. So 194 I will be applicable and exempted if the value is less than or equal to 240,000. Otherwise 2% will be applicable. 2%. In case of land, building, furniture, 10%. In case of plant and machinery, only 2%. 2% on this being 5,200. Fee paid on this date to Dr. Stevachan by Sundar Huff, 35,000 for surgery performed on the member. So professional charges 194J is applicable only for the business purpose. So it's what about family member surgery, personal purpose. So 194J will not be applicable here. If you escape, then you can cross verify 194M, but in that case, the value is less than or equal to 50 lakhs is not considered for the taxability. ABC Company Limited paid 19,000 to one of his directors, 194J, in case of director's fees. Even single penny will attract the TDS at the rate of 10%. Okay, 1900 will be the TDS here. Other than director's fees, like professional fee, technical fee, royalty, and non-compete fee, 30,000 limit will be there. But in the case of director's fees, completely taxable. Completely taxable. Now, examine the applicability of tax deduction. Payment of 27,000 to Jack Scalise, a South African cricketer, by an Indian newspaper agency for contribution. Here, it will come under 184E. I have not taught that 184E, so it is not given in your CA text, so I removed that. But in this particular question, 184E is there. I will explain this. In case of 184E, sports related activity, we have two sections, 184E and 184EE. Okay, enjoy by playing and get the commission. So E for enjoy. That's how you can simply remember. For this, 20% rate will be applicable. That too, the payment is for the non-resident. Okay, non-resident sports persons coming to India and playing, even writing an article or appearing as a brand ambassador for some product, then whatever the income they generate will be subject to TDS. The TDS includes surcharge and the health and education cess also. So because the payment is made for outside India, non-resident. So for 27,000, you have to levy at the rate of 20% plus health and education 4%. So 20.8% will be leviable. Okay. And payment made by a company to Mr. Ram, subcontractor, 3 lakhs. With outstanding balance of 1,20,000 shown in the books. Okay. So this is falling under 194C related to subcontract business. Then automatically TDS is applicable as the value is more than either 30 or 1 lakh. $30,000 or 100,000, TDS is applicable at the rate of 1% or 2%. In case of individual and half, 1%, otherwise 2%. So here 1% will be leviable. Clear? Winning from horse races. So automatically Indian resident 30% will be available. In case of non-resident, 30% plus health education cess will also be added. Under section 194 BB. Winning from lottery betting 194B. Card games, online games 194 BA will be there. BB is for horse races. If the value is less than or equal to 10,000, not taxable. Finally, 2 lakhs paid to Mr. A, resident individual, by the state of Uttar Pradesh, compulsory acquisition. Compulsory acquisition will fall under 194 LA. 2.5 lakhs limit is there, exempted, but here 2 lakhs, so not taxable. Not taxable. Clear? Hope you will be now able to understand all the tedious concepts. Go and do revision so that you will be master with the tedious.